All right, we are live right there on social media and recording there in the studio. Welcome to the Roundtable Talk podcast. Hal Nunn,
Ruben Castellon,
and Chris Holland.
Inside the studios of Christian1057.com, WCLN. More about them in a minute, but first we have got to thank our inaugural sponsor, Rayford Guns. Rob is so awesome, and he is getting his act together continually on all social media platforms. So make sure if you don't see the tag on our page for Rayford Guns, go to X, go to Twitter, whatever you want to call it, and say Rayford Guns. It'll pull up. It's just got a little, the title has a little click in there. But better than that, why don't you drive down to 5609 Fayetteville Road inside the gas station at Skull Road and Johnson Mill in Hope County, Monday through Friday, 10 to 7. They're normally at shows on the weekend. And see their Facebook page, Rayford Guns, X page, Rayford Guns, Instagram, Rayford Guns, or call 910-709-3950. That's Rayford Guns. Also, we want to thank the Hope County edition of the North State Journal. It's the only statewide newspaper in North Carolina, covering local, state, national, and world news, as well as college and pro sports right here in my hands. Also got a local paper, support local, support statewide, support them both. I have no problem with that. Anyway, they can be found at hope.northstatejournal.com or northstatejournal.com for a statewide edition. And we just want to say thank you for helping us out and continuing to get the word out about the podcast and to our readers. And then last but certainly not least, Christian1057.com, WCLN 105.7 FM right here in Rayford, North Carolina, Hope County. They cover a lot more though, 11, somebody told me 11 million one time. But I think that's a little bit of a bigger number than what we're looking at. But this radio station is a powerhouse in this region right here. And we want to say thank you to them for helping us out. And Christian1057.com, WCLN, your 24/7 source for hope and inspiration. App, web, online, everything you need. It's what faith sounds like. Christian1057.com. Do we have anything? We got a website, right?
Website.
Oh yeah, Roundtable Talk.
Page.
Roundtable Talk Podcast.
a YouTube channel.
.com, Facebook, Roundtable Talk, YouTube channel. Same name, right?
Yeah.
So just search for it. You just go to YouTube and search for it. You can get our back issues, back copies, back whatever, and now we're plugged. Hopefully everything was working. But if it don't, have you ever had to do that where they start over? Have you ever done? I mean, y'all really hadn't done radio or anything till we got started doing this. We're on year number what? 3, 2.
3 or 4.
3 plus
we
3
start?
plus.
22.
Well, what episode are we on?
Oh, 134. And I got my trusty dusty Stetson. This is a bona fide liquid Stetson right here from downtown Killeen, Texas. Fort Hood. Soon to be Fort Hood again or whatever, right?
Yeah, I think so. Fort Chavos right now.
Yeah, Fort Hood, Texas, coming back. Yeah, Vacation Bible School's a Western thing, and Melanie said that I had to wear a hat, so I'm going to wear it on the show.
There's nothing wrong with it.
Does it look good? I look good in it? Thank you. Thank you very much. They can't see my eyes, so I got to tip it about a little bit. That's the trick, right?
So what's our first subject?
Well, the first thing is how you guys doing, man? I haven't seen you since the last. No, I seen you. We saw each other.
The rain.
I haven't seen Ruben. I seen Ruben on YouTube.
The rain.
Yeah.
The rain.
Oh, when was
I
that?
know, it's like every other day.
Oh, it's going to be every other hour this afternoon, probably.
It just stopped. It just stopped raining about 30 minutes
The
ago.
bottom fell out, didn't it? Or I did down there. I don't know about where you were.
We just got a lot of rain, but I was like, good Lord. First, a lot of black clouds, then thunder, and then it came down.
And it rained yesterday, and it rained Saturday, and it rained last Friday.
We're 2 months behind schedule.
Yeah, well,
March and April. This should have been in March and April, but we're 2 months behind. So that'll tell you what to expect for the actual summer.
when is that? What day are we on?
Well, I don't know. We're
16,
like-
16.
It's 2 months.
July, yeah, it's
So 21 is the first
21.
day of summer, right? June. And then
something.
official, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hot, though. It's hot out there.
It
You
might
can
just be
hear it.
raining.
You can hear it in my throat. I had to do a
I
little
tell you, on the
outdoor
positive note, my
stuff.
grass is loving it.
Oh, man. Green grass is looking good.
My lawnmower's not, but my
I
grass
know.
is loving it.
Trying to fit it in the schedule.
Mate, yeah. Well, sometimes you just can't fit it in. You have to get some help. I was able to do part of mine this morning and before the big rain. Anyway, grass cutting details over with. I'm so excited for this episode 134 because, like we said before, I think now we are again third year now. We're moving into the third year, and pretty soon 134 will be 150, and then we'll be
Keeps going.
busting 200 from there on out. So make sure you like the page, comment, and share it, which I have not done.
And follow.
And while I'm talking, I'll try to do it, but I'm not a great multitasker. But anyway, local. Let's start off local. All kinds. First of all, I was riding down 401 heading here. And, sometimes I'll put a live on the What's Happening Hope page. And I had just found out that a friend, not going to mention any names, was in a car accident. And then, you get the group text, and it goes down as in a car. And the person themselves responded and said, I'm okay. A few scratches and bruises, but I'm okay. And I can replace the car. And I was like, thank the Lord. Because let me tell you, on 401 and 211, you're taking your life in your hands at times. Not all the times it's like that. Not all the time. But getting close to this time of day and early in the morning and on 211 going that way. And if you see the video, there's a white car that pulled out right in front of me while I was live.
Oh, yeah.
And I didn't bust them out or nothing. I just said, oh, see there? Slow down. Move over. You got to be aware of your surroundings. And this morning, the Sheriff's Department put out press releases on 2 armed robberies. And they're on the What's Happening Hope page. They're on the Hope County Sheriff's page. I do have it.
What, that happened this weekend?
Yes. I do have it. So 2 press release right there. Number 1 was on Friday, June 13th. They dispatched deputies to an armed robbery at the Dollar General Market on the 4,000 block range of Rockfish Road.
That's the new one.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir. That's what I was thinking.
That's the only market we have in town.
That's
Is
the
it
new
the only
one.
market
I
we
think
have?
so.
That's the new one.
And the reporters were the employees of the store. Detectives responded to the scene and began an investigation for additional information. So what they did is they put out a press release with their anonymous tip line. All right. So for additional information on that incident, contact Detective D. Austin with the Hope County Sheriff's Office, 910-875-5111. Or you can call the anonymous tip line at 910-878-1100. And so as soon as that one, actually, I got a message from a viewer on the page. There's about, almost 20,000 people on that group page. Causes more headache sometimes than it's worth. But asking about it's not been reported anywhere.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, Friday, Saturday is probably not going to get a press release, right? You're not going to get one on the weekend unless it was a highly inflated crime. I mean, armed robbery is pretty highly inflated, but murder or something like that or something along those
Looking
lines.
for somebody.
Right,
right away.
well, they're looking for these guys. They haven't caught them.
My point being, they're chasing somebody through a neighborhood and they lost sight of them.
Yeah,
You
to
know,
help us out.
Help us out.
Anyway, so Saturday, June 14th at approximately 8:57 p.m. These are relatively early. I mean, this is not midnight.
Still daylight.
Yeah. Hope County Sheriff's Office deputies responded to the 4,000 block, something with the 4,000 block, in reference to the armed robbery. 2 unknown black males entered and established, displayed a weapon, and demanded money. The victims...
From the same store?
No, this is a Subway on Fayetteville Road, 4,000 block Fayetteville Road. The other one was 4,000 block of Rockfish Road, and it was a Dollar General Market. And
Subway, that's the Hoke Landing.
is that Hoke Landing?
Well, that's the only Subway I know.
By Food Lion?
Yeah.
Food Line Shopping.
The other Subway's the one in 41
Walmart.
bypass.
There's one in the Walmart. I don't know if that counts.
I don't see somebody there going and robbing that place. That's too, I just
Subway,
That would not be. Well, it's
I
not
don't-
wise anyway.
I just don't. I would say it would be the 41 bypass or the one by Hook Landing where the Food Line is at. Those are the only two Subways I know of, other than the one inside Walmart.
Okay, you got me there.
But the 4,000
I
block
forgot
of what?
it's Fayetteville Road. I'm not going to pull my phone
that's
up.
401.
Anyway, I did a little live. Slow down. Be aware of your surroundings. And hey, I mentioned I got ready to start talking about the constitutional carry, but I said the easy word was, if you are carrying the proper stuff where you can carry concealed, it's probably a really wise thing to do right now. And I said, but if you're not, you may have other means. And what I meant by that was tasers, pepper spray. What are some other things that people use for self-defense?
But was the law signed this weekend?
No,
Okay,
no.
so
I
it's not
just
the law
mentioned
yet.
it. And
Okay.
sometimes when you're live, you just say it. You know,
It passed through the Senate.
Yeah,
which
no,
means
I understand that, but
the
it hasn't
governor
been
still
signed
has
yet.
to sign it.
and he's not probably right.
Well, we
I
don't
don't
know
know.
that.
We don't know though.
We
He's
don't
starting
know
to.
that.
Josh Stein.
I don't know. I mean, we'll see.
Is he starting to
think-
run to the middle a little?
I
Yeah,
mean, the only thing
I
I,
would
know
say.
about our new governor is that he's pro-abortion.
Yeah.
But he's
Well-
never. I don't think. I can't ever recall him saying negative or positive about the Second Amendment. So we're gonna find
He
out
might
soon
just
enough.
roll on with
We're
it.
gonna see. We're gonna. I mean, to me, it's common sense. Really, it's just a common sense that we already have an open carry. North Carolina's an open carry.
Mm-hmm.
This is allowing Biden citizens to carry conceal. So
What I didn't realize is a lot of people don't know that you can carry a pistol open carry
that's right.
at 18 in North Carolina.
Yeah, it
You
can be a
can't
gift.
buy one,
It can be a gift.
but you can carry one at 18.
Wasn't there something that they were doing nationally though with that?
Yeah, they're
They're
trying to do
make
that.
it 18.
Concealed carry. No, not 18. They're
Okay.
trying to do the national reciprocity
Yeah.
law so that if you have a concealed carry here, it's recognized everywhere else. Which in North Carolina, if they do away with the concealed carry permit requirement, that doesn't cover you if you go up to Virginia. It doesn't cover you if you go to Georgia or
I
South
think
Carolina.
you're still gonna have to have that.
Yeah, exactly.
Really, to me, it may. I think you should still. I don't have a problem with, and this is just my personal opinion with the Second Amendment. I don't have a problem with you carrying a weapon, open carry in North Carolina. The problem I have is this: most of these, especially young men that I see, I don't see women carrying open carry most of the time, but most of them are young men. They're carrying a pistol. In most cases, it's a pistol.
Right.
And they have such a non-secure holster that anybody can come and take your gun away. And you should have at least a level 1, which is called level
With a
1.
thumb
It's that
strap,
this
yeah.
is a security to where it's going to be a little difficult to for someone to take your gun from you. And you know, it just makes you wonder. Some of these people just carry a weapon just to carry a weapon. And when I see the type of holster they carry, the first thing that goes to my mind, I wonder if they even know if that weapon has a safety on.
Would you say? Would it be fair to say they carry it to look cool?
It's
Some-
hard. It's
some-
hard. It's hard to say. It's hard to say. All I know is that I've always told anybody that asks me about carrying a weapon, say make sure you practice with it so you know how to use it. Because I can tell you, I saw a video. It was in Florida. It was a pawn shop that dealt with a lot of diamonds, and this is years ago. This is in the 90s. And this store, this manager, the owner, got robbed at least twice a week. They were going after the diamonds all the time. And so he got tired. He put a security to where, a system to where the bars were shut down. You're not leaving. You're not going to leave. and he bought a gun. His intention was that he was gonna have a
Hold them there
gunfight.
to the-
The problem was that they clearly see him in the video where he's not. He looks like he's shooting, but the weapon's not shooting because he never practiced with the gun, and the pistol had a safety mechanism. And so I always tell people, I mean, in the Army and law enforcement, it's always repetitive. It's just you let your muscle memorization take over and you take action.
It's
and
almost like a
when I see individuals carrying a weapon with a specific low level holster, I'm like, I said, man, you're just waiting for an accident to happen, and so I my only requirement will be is if I had a choice, my only requirement is if you're gonna carry a gun. And see, that's also iffy. Then who's gonna
Moderate
manage that? Yeah, like you should be able to prove that you know how to use the weapon. Just like when you in North Carolina, when you go through the process to get a concealed weapons permit, you got to have 8 hours of training. That includes the class, the lecture, and the
Range
hands-on
time.
training, the range.
at a minimum.
And so by the time you finish with the course and you get your certificate, you are qualified with that weapon. But you got people that buy weapons and they've never. I literally spoken to some individuals, and I ask them, I say, "Have you ever shot that weapon?" Well, no. How can you carry
I
a
hope
weapon?
I don't have to.
Yeah. How can you carry a weapon you've never shot? That
You
means
don't know how to use
that
it.
means you know how to use. You do not know how to use that weapon.
Yeah, because I tell you what, if anything of higher power these days, if you haven't fired it, even a moderate user, when we went to the range for the church, we started the whole security team back. What
2020.
was it? 2020 or before? No,
Well, it
I
was
think
before
something
2020.
It was something
It
happened
was the
before
churches that were getting shoot up in the air, 2018, 19.
18, 19. So we started a full blown. We had security, but we started to say let's bolster this up a little bit. We developed an SOP. We developed a standard. We got guards, people at the front door, back door, roaming. We installed the cameras in the right spots. You got to remember the church has been there a long time, so we go out to train. And then I had just bought a new, I think it was my new 38. It was just like a little 38 special, but it was a nice one. It was a snub nose. Then I had a 9mm, and then I had my AR, and I wanted to make sure I could handle all of them again and go through the thing. I lit off on that 38, buddy, and it was you better hold on. Some people will grab that little thing and they'll just go blah, 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 blah. And you see people on the range and they get out there and they grab it and they're stunned at the amount of power that little sucker has.
Well, you got to realize the smaller the barrel, the harder
it is to hold.
So there was an individual that actually shot somebody and killed somebody during one of the No Kings protests this weekend. They saw a person approaching with a
That's
rifle
on the list.
with the intent to mass casualty or whatever, and he was a peacekeeper or security, whatever it was, and the first round hit an innocent bystander, killed them, and then shot the perpetrator twice, and he went to the hospital.
So a police officer did the
no,
shooting?
it was a
Security.
civilian, like security or like event security or something like that.
And so with that, hey, we got security companies all over. You got people that work security or start security companies, and you tend to sometimes see these people come in and you're not sure if they're all together or not.
Well, let me tell you. Here's the funny thing about it is that talking about security guards, they call them armed guards. They got to get that special training so they know how to use that weapon. It's funny to me where you look at some individuals, and nothing against age, but when you have a 70-plus-year-old man guarding, your speed kind of slows down up to a certain age, and you don't have old men. And when I say old men, 75 plus, normally going out there robbing people. They're normally young people doing the armed robberies.
And that's why their first option is to shoot somebody.
Of
'cause
course.
they're too old to get in a tussle with them.
Yeah,
You
I'm
know,
gonna pull the
so
trigger.
but I got so everything we do, everything we do has unknown effects.
Yep.
You know, that's the bottom line. But like I said, my biggest thing when carrying a weapon, you should have at least a level 1 holster, a minimum. You know, and it just it scares me because a weapon can fall off. And while in theory most weapons won't fire, in theory, but there's always that
There's
accident.
always a chance that you left one in the chamber and you didn't get it
and
cleared.
you got women that will have a concealed carry weapon, and they carry their weapon in the purse, and when the time comes to use it, they can't find the weapon. I saw that. I saw that. I was like, that's
I'm
funny.
not going there. I'm not going.
I will.
I'm not going there. All right, let's
Anyway.
go. Let's fire off. We only got like 12 stories that I want to cover, and we got like 40 minutes now. So, okay. So the Dollar General on Rockfish Road. Oh, the school board and budget and all that. You want to mention anything about it? Because it's all. You start following the money and the county budget and the school board budget, and let me tell you, by the time you get to paragraph 3 of anybody, and the News Journal had a story on the county. I haven't seen the school board budget yet, on what was going down with that, how much they spent here and how much they've increased here. I keep hearing Ruben's statement, well, the county's growing, the budget's going to grow too, and there's going to be more money, and it's going to get bigger. But within the budget, the allocations for the different departments, and of course, I think the schools and the sheriff's department are the biggest. Is that about
well,
right?
the school's the
Of the
biggest.
line items, yeah.
But I haven't seen anything on the school budget. I did see at y'all's moved meeting on the 9th that the NAACP, which is now partly Sheriff the former Sheriff Jim Davis, came in speaking something, but he spoke in tongues almost. It's almost like he spoke words of code, like somebody was knowing him. He's like, now, and I'm here to speak about some things that we've heard from the parents and the students of the school, some issues, and I want to make sure we address them properly. Did they ever say what they were?
Well, I understood, because I was there in that meeting, what I understood was that parents were contacting the NAACP to address some complaints, but that is the NAACP is not in the chain of command in the school system. What I can tell parents, if you're listening, is that you have the ability to contact one of the school board members. If you go to the website, the email address is right there. If you follow me on my
right there
campaign
where
page,
you can contact somebody.
yeah, if you follow me, I say my email, my official email is there. That's another option. If you have, I always tell people, if you have an issue with a specific school because of your child, I'm a firm believer that you need to address the issue at the lowest level. You start with the teacher, the assistant principal, the principal, whatever the case may be. But what I tell parents is that you need to document. Always follow up with an email. Thank you very much for blah, blah, blah.
Or you didn't respond to me,
I look
blah,
forward
blah, blah.
to it. And the problem is that when it's all just in-person, face-to-face conversation and something doesn't happen, people get amnesia. They're like, what do you mean? We never talked. And you have no record of it. And so... And unfortunately, even when you do file a complaint, and even if you file a formal complaint where we have to activate the board specifically to hear an appeal, a complaint, it doesn't mean that that we're going to side with the parent, because at the end, the board is going to see if anything was broken.
If it makes it that far.
If anything was violated, but if everything was step by step, then
you just gotta let.
because what people don't understand is that you have two levels of decision making process before it makes it to the school board. That's the principal, and then the superintendent.
Right.
And then when it makes it to the board, you're not appealing the principal.
It's not an appeal process.
You're appealing what the superintendent's decision was. that's
So there is an appeal process for
there's
complaints?
there's an appeal process for everything. But you have. I
But
would
like you
say-
said, if you don't follow the process, just because you don't like the result or the answer,
Right.
doesn't mean that you're going to go before the school board and get things changed.
Yeah, and it's not.
As long as you document, as long as,
Yeah.
and then you look for processes and procedures, is
Yeah.
what the school board does and says, well, that's in the rules.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
too bad you don't like it, but that's the way it is.
And the thing is, the whole county school board policies, a bulk of the content on all the policies is driven by law. So it's not like
made it up.
I would say probably I'm gonna take a wild guess. At least 80%.
I would say
of
80.
at least, and it's probably more. At least 80% of the content within a policy of the school system, school district, follows some type of law. Because if you look at the policy, the last page, it'll say what general statute
Sources.
and all that stuff. So it's not stuff that just made up. There is some flexibility, but most of it is just general statutes.
So there was no, you don't remember hearing any detailed information.
Specific issue
That they were.
No, he
like
just said
grades or-
what I understood was. I mean, he was very cordial. I mean,
Of
I've known
course.
Davis for former Sheriff Davis for a long time, and
yeah. I wouldn't expect
of course
him to be
he went.
anything else.
Of course, he went there doing the open comment. So we're not gonna
Back and forth.
back and forward. It's open comment.
Yeah.
So, my only thing to anybody that wants to help the parents is that file approach somebody in the school district. You start with the teacher. If it's a student issue, teacher. In most cases, it is teacher, principal, superintendent, the board.
I just by watching it, and we'll jump on to the next topic. It seemed like it was something more along the lines of. I can only guess, so I don't want to put words in his mouth. But the way he was saying things is, it was something like a district-wide problem, maybe like math scores,
Well,
or
no,
science
no,
scores,
the way-
or
the-
buildings.
The way
or,
I took it
you know.
was that parents were contacting them
Oh,
for help, but to my recollection, he never said anything specific.
right. I didn't hear it.
So I say this now, as a parent, if you have an issue, there is a chain of command in the school district, and I'm gonna tell you this or not that I'm derelict my duty, but if a parent
Well, it's
files a complaint to me, as an example, against a teacher, I'm not doing anything. All I'm going to do is forward the email to the superintendent and say, hey,
There's this situation.
I might reply to the complainant, and I said, thank you for emailing me. I'm going to forward this to the superintendent for his action. And then I attach the superintendent. And that's it. I can't not engage. No board member can engage
Yeah.
in any stuff like that, because then
Shouldn't.
if
Well,
it
they
comes-
really shouldn't.
Yeah, if it comes to an appeal process, then
You'd have to step aside.
we're going to
No,
have
they
to
don't
step
know.
aside,
No,
but
that hasn't happened in the past. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you now. I didn't want to.
Yeah.
This is not intended to go there. I don't. This current board, you may be right, but in the past, board members would run straight to the school.
I heard of that, and but I can tell you right now, I'm going to say that I'm 90% sure that individual board members are not taking matters into their own hands, because really you talking about ethical issues right there, and the board member will be stepping over line, because that's not their. Our job is to hire the superintendent.
To run the school system.
Yes, yeah, he's the CEO,
To manage the
and our main job is really
Policies and procedures.
Policies. That's it. That is the meat and potatoes.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on to something different. U.S. Army's birthday, along with the No Kings March, we'll tie them all together. 250 years of the U.S. Army birthday, and a friend of mine today posted a picture of the Fayetteville Observer coming out, and the headline is all about No King's Day. There's
Yeah.
not a big mention over the weekend on the Army birthday stuff.
The Fayetteville Observer.
And so, first of all, your thoughts, gentlemen, being all military in the room and Army, your thoughts on the 250th birthday and how everything went for the weekend.
I saw some of it. I thought it was a wonderful event. Some people were complaining because it so happened that it's also President Trump's birthday, but we didn't have this parade because of his birthday. It was actually scheduled. It was actually in the it was actually in the books that it was.
It was
scheduled.
already on the books,
It was
or
on
was
the,
it?
No,
Yeah.
it was in the books because this is not the first time this has happened.
No, but that's a key, and that's how the media will take a story and they'll bend it around and make it seem like it is something that it's not. And that's what I heard today. First I'd heard it was today too, that the birthday was already scheduled under the Biden administration.
Come out the parade.
The parade.
The parade,
It was.
yes,
It
it
had-
was.
Or
Started
the
playing.
celebration.
Yeah, it's a
the celebration of the
yeah.
Army birthday. I see. Yeah. Well,
Yeah, you see what I'm
there was two birthdays occurring at the same time.
Right.
So
It so happened
one.
that let's just put it this way: if Donald Trump was not a president today, we would not be talking about that.
Yeah, they'd be talking about the Army birthday
Oh,
and
Army
how-
birthday,
how
you
it
know,
was
but
honored
there's
and-
people that try to make a big deal out of this. Donald Trump is having a parade for his birthday. That is just furthest from the truth. You know, this is it's so despicable.
Well,
for
better
people to say that.
them than me, because you know those guys were probably there at midnight lining up and staging those vehicles for that parade.
Man, I'm
at
telling
6
you
o'clock
what.
at night.
Well, you had tractors coming in with rolling in with tanks and stuff.
Apache
But I'm saying,
helicopters.
you know, it's going to kick off at 1800.
Of course.
They were there probably.
Oh, you know that.
At
The
least,
day
at
before.
least 6 a.m. I'm talking about the day of lining
Yeah.
up,
Oh, yeah.
marshaling, getting in
Yeah,
order.
Yeah.
You're standing there.
One of the things that I liked the most was that you had different eras of the army.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
Yeah.
the
What
Continental
about
Army and the Vietnam era, and
the Thursday event at Fort Bragg?
I did not go to it. But
I didn't
tell you
go.
what, I would.
We had an
watch
invite.
some
I
of
know
it.
you had an invite.
I would have loved to. I was not available, but I would have loved to be there. And I saw a few snapshots, and I tell you what, these soldiers are motivated. They're motivated because the Army's back. You know, the armed forces is back to where the way they're supposed to be, trained to go to war. That is their sole mission. Trained to go to war. It's not supposed to be a social experiment. Armed forces. It's trained to go to war. You know.
Yep. All right. Let's see.
So let's talk about
Yes, go ahead. Somebody
the
throw
media,
something else in there.
the media talking about
go
different
ahead and
stuff
figure out
and their
something.
perspective. So I'll read you this headline. All right. So North Carolina state representative waves Trump's decapitated head at a No Kings protest, saying that some cuts may be necessary.
It's up in the mountains, right?
Didn't we
No, I
already
think it
have
was in-
somebody ruin their
It's in
career
Wake
because
County.
of that?
Yeah, but let me get to the issue of the media. I looked up this story in 5 different sources. Right, this is one headline: the representative waves the head. Now I took some of the meat from another article that frames it in a different direction. Wake County Democrat Representative Julie Von Hoffen attended the No Kings protest Sunday in the North Carolina Capitol and posted a photo of a demonstrator holding an effigy of what appeared to be the decapitated head of Trump and his senior policy advisor. So, you know, you're talking about the No Kings versus the Trump birthday, Army birthday.
Right.
5 different articles. 3 of them said it was a demonstrator that she took the picture of and promoted. 2 of them said that it was her. So are these journalists straight up lying? Are they not researching?
They're not doing their job.
I mean,
It wouldn't
some
surprise me.
of them are national outlets, so they don't know this person individually. So even the picture they put in their article, they don't know if that's her, the representative, or if
Yeah, but
it's
they better do their
the
due
demonstrator.
diligence, and they're not.
Well,
apparently.
unfortunately, they're not. But regardless, whether she was promoting it or it was her doing it herself, this is at the same time, just a couple hours before the people in the legislatures
next
in
thing I was
Minnesota
gonna
got
mention.
shot. right? So everybody just needs to calm down. There's so much, and I can't believe, and I'm on social media every now and then. I mean, it just drives me crazy, the ignorance, that's out there.
The amount of people not knowing where the local fire department is,
Or
which fire department do I
or
go,
just
go
their
to?
opinion on something that's so baseless in fact. I was watching CNN. First time I've watched CNN in months. This past Friday night or maybe it was Saturday night. I don't know.
I did watch them
But
last
there was
week.
there was a representative, a congressman, talking about an issue that is directly straight up lie. It's one of two things. There again, because I know some of the backstory, where I work, of what's actually going on. So this congressman either lied, knowing that somebody couldn't come out and refute it because it's classified information, or he's so low on the totem pole that he has no clue, so therefore he shouldn't be talking about it any
He's
damn
talking
way.
out of his head.
Right. I was just getting infuriated. I'm like, dude, you are straight up lying, but the lie was tilted to make the administration look bad.
Well, everything seems to have a slant.
It does,
And it always seems that the slant goes to the left. It never
in favor of.
in-
Well,
in favor of.
the communists. I just keep adding titles because that's a fact. The communist, socialist, fascist, Democrat Party. They're in the business of only one thing. Anything that Donald Trump does, they're going to go opposite.
is bad.
I mean, this man supported Elon Musk. What did the Democrats start doing? They started burning their own EVs.
Right. Well, and back to the whole, the anger. I'm literally, you read people on social media that talk about killing people, that talk about sending them to camps and deporting, whatever. And it's like, this country just needs to take a breath. At the end of the day, we're all Americans. We're all going to get through this life. We're all going to the same place
You
at the
say
end.
that, but there are some that don't feel like they're Americans, and they're here living in the country. They want to turn it into something else.
I'm gonna
And
tell
I
you.
understand, and I understand a difference of this is the way we get to the end zone, right? And that's all it is. It's a different procedure or process to get to the end zone. And we can have the arguments about that. We can have the debates about that, and we can dislike each other's opinion. But when you're talking about killing a fellow American because they voted for somebody that you didn't, I mean, it's ridiculous. It's just it's crazy. And it's ignorant.
And this is the thing. Let me give you a different perspective. You say that we need to chill out, but I say the opposite. We need to be prepared because these people are not going to stop. Everybody right now that's rioting, they're rioting against the majority of Americans. And if you think, as an American, the one that's the silent, the one that's not going to riots, because they're not demonstrations, they're riots. As soon as one individual throws a rock, pushes a law enforcement officer, it becomes a riot.
Or threaten somebody.
Oh, threaten somebody, okay? So you need to be prepared. Don't take this lightly. Of course, my first line of defense is stay away from those locations.
Right.
Don't go.
I'm not going to go into a fight where I have one gun against five guys that have five guns. I'm going to try to run first because
I'm out.
I'm outnumbered by bullets and everything. It's futile for me to stand my ground against five guys that got five guns, the same guns I have. And so I say this to say this, okay? These people that are rioting right now, they want to see America destroyed. These politicians that are going into these No King Day stuff, they want to see America destroyed. They want it destroyed because they believe in socialism. They believe in communism. I seen a Hispanic. I was actually despicable, but I said this guy is ignorant. I'm for communism because it works. Have you lived in North Korea?
yeah, I remember
Have
what you're
you
talking about.
lived in Russia? What do you mean it works? No, it works
when
for
given a chance.
It,
He
wor-
said,
it
didn't he?
works for those that are in charge, but
power.
but it don't work for those that are the subjects of communism. It just does not work. And here's the whole thing: all these people that are protesting, a bulk of them, they are paid agitators. And I'm surprised we're not doing more. I tell you what.
Well, somebody is
I
looking
think
into
the
the
Congress
money.
is getting after
I'm
that.
gonna tell you this right now.
Thank
You,
you.
you are lucky we don't have a king. Because if I was a king, I would destroy that immediately. I don't. You waving a foreign flag in my country?
And
No, sir. It's not gonna happen.
and promoting death to America when you're
In my
when you're
country.
from another country and waving that country flag, saying that you want and then the guy goes, okay, you don't like America, you love another country, go back to that country.
No,
No, I
I
want
go
to stay here. I want to stay here, which means they
that's
want
right.
to change it.
That's
anyway.
crazy.
All right, so get off that one.
We got 5 minutes.
Daggone, man. Let's see. Okay. Two things real quick. We did not get to mention last episode that I found the story about Amazon starting the AI plant in Rockingham.
Uh-huh.
That's 15, 20 minutes from here, y'all.
Yeah.
That's 500 jobs at an AI facility that's going to, I joke and say, they're going to be making robots down in Rockingham.
You don't know.
But we don't know. And then,
I bet you we could probably compete for jobs like that if we had some water in this county.
yeah, that's
Facts on
another very
facts.
valid point. Yeah, I wouldn't move here if I was a big major company. Airline in Greensboro, Jet Zero, another so many billions of dollars. I didn't print it out, but
Jet Zero or Net Zero?
Jet Zero.
Net
Oh,
zero is
Jet-
internet.
Is that what it is?
Yep,
Net
I'm
Zero.
sorry, I didn't print it out. So let's see. Jet
it's a
Zero.
Jet zero or net zero?
Jet.
Jet zero.
Greensboro.
I hadn't heard of it.
Nope. So that's a good one. It didn't pull up.
So what is it?
It's an airline company. I
Oh,
think they're going to be making airline. They're
Jet
making
Zero.
parts for them.
I've never heard about it.
Greensboro Airline. And the other thing that I definitely want to mention, obviously there was a problem the week before last over in Westgate, your old stomping grounds, about the water and the internet company coming in and cutting the lines for the water.
Well, I think I read the article in the newspaper,
Right.
and what's his name, Andrew Jacobs, had a very good idea that, we need to start permitting these people that come into the county, because right now there's no requirement for Comcast or whoever to say, hey, I'm going to
just
go
come
in this
in.
neighborhood. They just go in the neighborhood and do what they have to do. So I think that there should be a permitting, and that way you hold them accountable. You know who they are because, really, if you're out in your yard or in your house and all of a sudden your water cuts out and you go out front and the trucks
Right.
are gone, do you know who did it?
No, you
And,
don't.
yeah, and
And
are
really,
they
you're
going to come back
dependent
and
on-
fix it if they
you're-
don't have to?
You're
Probably
dependent
not.
on the person actually being honest and
Right,
reporting
that's my point.
Because you can consider that to be like a hit and run. Oh crap!
Sorry,
Or
I'm
you-
out of here.
somebody ganked you or
I'm
something. Jet Zero selects Greensboro, North Carolina for first U.S. factory.
So what is it?
Access to world-class talent, excellent infrastructure, new facility, aviation's next generation all-wing
planes.
airplane.
So
it's a
planes.
solid
All-wing
wing plane,
airplane.
all-wing.
Planes.
And create more than 14,500 high-tech jobs. That's a lot.
14,000.
14,000?
That's going to be a big factory. That'd be nice if that came
Greensboro,
over here
yeah.
to
So
our
June
county.
12th. This was
We
on
would
Jet
have
Zero's
zero
page.
unemployment.
Well, talking about that, so I just saw the SNAP,
That's
because
Greensboro.
the whole SNAP cuts and Medicare, Medicaid cuts that they're talking about, first off, if there's 8 million people that shouldn't be getting Medicaid because, they're not eligible, then
Right.
they need to come off the rolls.
You need to come
It
off.
don't matter. But, so the SNAP, they're talking about Hope County is going to be about 9,000 people who are on SNAP in the county that could possibly be affected by any kind of cuts. So, yeah, back to 13,000 jobs. That's a whole lot of that 9,000 who wouldn't even have to worry about SNAP. But
And then
we're
you
not
got AI
competitive.
in Rockingham.
yeah, but we're not competitive. There's no desire, there's no demonstrated desire by this local government to build a manufacturing or industrial or a technological or a biomedical, infrastructure or base in this county.
It's all houses.
It's all houses.
It's all houses. No, we did know Kings. Oh, two more stories. The last one will get Ruben fired up. The voting maps are being looked at again.
They do. They recycle.
They're being looked at again, so be ready. Get fair warned. There'll become lawsuits and all kinds of stuff on the voting maps. Follow the Carolina Journal on that one. And then last but not least, let me get Ruben fired up on COVID-19. House Speaker Dustin Hall, is it Hall? Mm-hmm. Has sent a letter to the University of North Carolina requesting all the information from their research on the COVID-19 from that one particular scientific doctor or whatever he did there at the school, who admitted to being part of finding the strains of different things.
Right.
And there have been some that have believed that the actual strain that got over to Wuhan came from Chapel Hill.
Well, I don't know that, but I do know that Chapel Hill, the UNC, was very deeply involved with the Wuhan lab and have been for decades. Doing biological research and reverse engineering. So yeah, it was kind of an open secret.
They're doing all this just to spend more money. Here's the thing: you don't need to be a politician. All you gotta do is have common sense, so you don't repeat. So you don't allow yourself to let these people to repeat this again. The COVID-19 experiment, that's what it was. It was nothing more than an experiment to see how much politicians can get away with the American people, and they got away with a lot. They forced people to take shots, but they should have never done that. And what's even more alarming, that you still hear radio stations pushing that crap.
Yeah.
Get your COVID shot, when we know already for a fact that
it don't work.
They don't work. It don't work. So hey, you know what? Common sense. Masks don't work other than they help you get potentially sick because you're inhaling your own carbon monoxide.
But that's good to see if they're looking into it.
Well, let me make sure I got it right. So on June 13th, a letter obtained by the Carolina Journal through the Speaker's Office, Hall, requested records from UNC Chapel Hill Chancellor Lee Roberts, originally requested by the U.S. Right to Know, a nonprofit newsroom and public health research group. I also confirmed it on social media. The group has sued the university for the guy's name, Barrick, is I guess the scientist or a guy that was working in the lab, for his records to find out if more information on the origins of COVID-19. And so basically there was a lawsuit filed.
Yeah, they didn't respond to a FOIA request.
Correct.
Kind of like North
Kinda
Carolina
like some
politicians do.
Yep.
And so now they've been sued. Now the Speaker of the House, North Carolina House, has said, "Hey, we don't need a lawsuit. We're the government.
We're the government. Give me the documents. Plus,
We're
it's a
giving
public
you
school.
Yeah, it's a public. We're giving you millions of dollars."
The only other thing that I did want to mention that I don't know a lot of the details on is the permitting situation for that Townsend Road situation. Apparently, another letter was sent out, and it was like within days of being legal or not legal.
They said, what I've read, different stuff, is the letter was dated within the 10-day period, but it was postmarked after the 10-day period, outside of the or inside of the 10-day
Did they send
window.
the letter to the garrison commander?
I don't know.
All right.
All right,
Any
so I have an
alibi
announcement.
fires?
No, I just have an announcement.
Oh.
Our Republican Party meeting is this Thursday at 7 p.m. at PK's Grill. And we're doing a 4th of July cornhole tournament at PK, 6 p.m. until complete. We're going to have 20 teams, $200 for the top prize, $100 for the second place, $50 entry fee, and we're going to be selling hot dogs and popcorn before the fireworks. So come on out, July 4th, 6 p.m.
Cool beans. Ruben, you got an alibi or
No, I'm
fire?
good.
All right. I want to give Chris some credit as the chairman because I didn't see this post until this morning. Success by the numbers for Hope GOP and their chicken sales. Big chicken sales done right out here with the help of the Rockfish Trail Life Troop. Success by the number, 5,527 cases of chicken sold, $16,585 raised, 5,529 to the Open Door Soup Kitchen, 5,123 to Rockfish Church Trail Life, and $4,209 to Rockfish Chamber Backpack Buddies program, $1,000 to the Hoke High Marching Band, 707-2 to the Hoke County High School Bucks.
Yep.
Congratulations, man. Good
No.
work. Good work.
No,
Good
it's-
work. Rob, if you had anything to do with it,
It's a good
don't
cause.
don't short shake me on that.
At one time. At one time.
At one
Yeah.
time. Anyway, so that's a lot of money, 16 grand. And I don't know too many parties that are doing stuff like that.
Well, I would just say thanks to the community. You know, and we have not just the local community. We have people come from Charlotte, people from South
They
Carolina.
love this stuff, man.
They love it. It's a great deal.
I
and,
like chicken.
Every box,
Fresh
sold-
chicken.
Fresh.
Cut chicken.
every box sold raises $3 for whatever organization we're supporting that quarter. And all three programs, well, the Trail Life not so much, but the two food security programs are what we're doing with Open Door Soup Kitchen and the Backpack Buddies. So we're helping put food on the table for somebody.
Another one bites the dust. 134 down, folks. Thanks to Rayford Guns. Check them out on Facebook, X, and Instagram. If nothing else, Rayford Guns, 910-709-3950. Hoke County edition of the North State Journal. Congrats to Sand Hills Community College. Wins the 5th straight national title in golf. Right there, Hoke North State Journal. And also, we want to thank Christian1057.com for helping us out and allowing us to use the studio and keeping us alive. For Hal Nunn,
Ruben Castellon.
And Chris Holland.
we'll see you next time. Vacation Bible School. Let's go.